So, welcome everyone to another episode of the Idlepark Talkshow. Of course, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. We have a very special guest on the show today. His name is Hilaire Aben. I've always called him Hilary. I don't know why, but it's Hilaire Aben. And he is a visionary tech entrepreneur. He is founder and CEO of CAASITECH Group. When you talk about tech, I would say that you are one of the few people that I know exploring that space, and that is why I thought it would be the best opportunity for us to kind of have you on the show, not just to educate me because I am completely blank when it comes to the tech world, but to educate numerous parents who loyal followers of the show and many others. I am in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and we have a large group of Cameroonians here, or Africans here, who have a good number of kids graduating from school, looking for careers, and probably this conversation would be a good one for them. Usually when we talk about tech, for me, it's always limited to the more serious stuff, AI, the big stuff, but I'm sure that you would kind of break it down to the level that we parents can understand. Once again, Mr. Hilaire Aben, I want to welcome you to the Idlepark. Just an opening. Well, if you have anything to say before we kick in, bro.
No, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. As you've said, I lead CAASITECH Group. It's a startup in Africa. I started CAASITECH here in the US. Then I moved back home because of the need, trying to solve a solution like every other startup. But yeah, born in Cameroon, born in Boya, went to school, boarding school, high school in Cameroon, traveled to the US. I did my computer engineering degrees in Texas. Worked as a tech professional in the US for 15 years. And after 15 years, I thought, this is looking too good, but I didn't see people of my type excelling at the level. I knew I wasn't too special. And so went back home to try to look for more, better. Actually, that's the word I should look, because if you're looking for more, then there's no need to go back home, which we are seeing the results. So 5 years ago, we started CAASITECH Group as a startup. Now we're in multiple countries. We have a good base in Africa, Nigeria, and Cameroon, and we have also created value in terms of building programs and products. And but with what you said, I just want to plug into that. My interest to start talking, especially now, is not to tell people about all these wonderful things we've done. It's what we can do moving forward. And that is this concept of tech start, like you were saying, with parents and even those adults that are listening, whether they're in Canada, African immigrants, anywhere from any country, and immigrants from Haiti. I was talking to a young man from Haiti, right? Immigrants from underserved population. You know what I mean? But this is just a diagnosis program that we've come in to say, you are interested in tech. You want to do tech. How can we be part of that solution? There are several things you have to do. The one of them is to know which kind of tech career fits you, not the one that you see on the news, not the one that is a trend. Which one fits you? And we have a proprietary way. I use this word a lot, but we have a way that is coming from, years of experience, 6 years of actual work, working with other African immigrants like yourself. And so we can help those who are adults, we can help those who are youths. So for the parents that are listening to me, to the adults that are listening to me in Canada and in the US, I'm here today to talk to my brother because I do have that. I'm very proud of it. But there's a lot we can talk about. It's up to you, but it's up to you. But I'd like to share how we can help parents and adults who are trying to get into tech to be so successful. We think we have the formula.
Perfect. So before we start breaking it down, I know you've touched on a couple of things that we are going to talk about today. But before we break it down, Aben, sometimes I know we parents hear someone talk and we wonder where they're coming from.
Hmm.
What is your foundation? I know you've mentioned technically what is your credential? You know us.
Exactly.
When somebody talks, we sit back and we're
Yeah.
like, now who that self? Wait till you
Uh,
don't do. What is your? I know you studied in the US and you
exactly.
worked in multiple African
Yeah.
countries. Tell me a little bit about that background. What is the foundation on which you're building this mansion? If you might allow me say so.
So I'm not really good on talking about my. I think I should try to do it, but I think if I was talking to a parent one on
Mhm.
one, I
Yeah.
would say my credential is that I am obsessive about serving others.
Hmm.
Like anything good that happens to me, the first thing that comes to my head is that somebody else can benefit from this. That is the only credential I really want to sell.
Yeah.
All the other things are things that everybody have, right? I went to school.
Hmm.
I think exceptionally, why do I think I should be the one to talk to you or to your child about which their career? Because I have been doing it. That's the only thing.
Right.
People have PhDs and stuff, people have big degrees, but we came up with an idea. When I went to Africa, I saw similar people that I want to talk to today. Adults in professions that were working in big banks. This is real story. We transformed their lives doing what we want to do today. This is 2019. We saw youths that were trying to they didn't even think about tech. They've never seen a laptop. Brenda, people that we transform and they became gurus in data analysis. So my credential is just that. It's that obsessive way to provide service. But if we put it in a formal way,
Hmm.
I study technology. I have a passion for it. I'm one of the lucky ones that started technology when it wasn't so popular in 1997. As from a very young age, I got into it and I was passionate about it. Unfortunately, I was in a seminary. That is not a place where you want to be tech. This is where you go to serve God. So
Right.
I was formed in the seminary, but I got technology while in the seminary. Very interesting story. I've moved to the US, got a degree, just like a kid that I'm talking to would like to have. They're out here in the West, right? Whether it's Canada or the US. So I also have gone through the 4 years of college, freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. The only thing I may not have is that I did not come from a US high school. I came from an African high school.
Right.
The third part is that very few of us that study here, you know what I'm about to say, work in companies that send us as expatriate
Right.
out of the Canada or the US. I did that 9 times. I worked in 13 countries and I
Hmm.
was sent by, let me just say it because this is not wasted by white people. I
Right.
say this because any parent, anybody that is doing something, whether it's in Mackenzie or in any place they are working, they know how hard that is. You really have to be exceptional.
Hmm.
So by the metrics of this West, of the Western culture, I excelled,
Hmm.
right? Um, Even the metrics back home, we have GCE. I'm like 5 papers, I'm like 11 papers, 10 papers, 1A, all those things. I don't like to talk like this, but
Right.
you're correct when you say people will say, who are you to
Hmm.
tell us this? No, these are my credentials.
Right.
And my friends know about this. I'm also an entrepreneur in every step of my, you're going to be the first platform I'll say this. When I came to this country, while I was studying, I first came to Oklahoma before I went to Texas. While I was in Oklahoma, I went to Maryland and I started installing modems in people's homes. To install one modem was $75. That is how I used to make summer money. My sisters had not come from Europe like she is now. I was the first person in my family here, so I had to find a way. From installing modems in people's home, I went into car rentals. Very interesting story.
Hmm.
But so all this background about credential is everywhere. We pioneer things. You could say you've done something, but the way you do it can tell a better story.
Right.
When we went to Africa to do business, everybody, Africa is tough, that you can't make money, right? But we did not only overcome, we are the only company, we transform young girls. Women are not so, everybody say girls in tech, but they just put it for a UN grant.
Right.
We've
Yeah.
never been, everything I've done in the 6 years I've been in Africa came from my pocket. A person that does that should tell you their credential,
Hmm.
right? No, it's not any support, no VC funding, like a startup would say, no bank. The Cameroon government has never helped us, but we've transformed over 300 Cameroonians. So I did. If I'm doing these things and you follow my story and you go to our website and you visit CAASITECHacademy.com and the about page and you see pictures of these stories I've just told,
Mhm.
it can be, I don't know, you're right, but yeah, I know that our people is Thomas, see before believe.
And and
Then
and
my only credential I want to summarize is that I like to serve. If anything, God blesses me with something, the next thing that comes to my mind is how can I give somebody else this wonderful thing I've discovered. That's the best credential I have.
perfect. So I mean, the desire to serve is pretty important. And
Yeah.
again, in terms of credentials, I think your experience kind of speaks for itself. You've traveled the world, doing what you do, and you're right to say that for people like us, our skin color, you
Mm.
don't just get the chance because you're lucky or because
Yeah.
um, you get it because they've seen the potential, right?
Thank
And
you.
that is the potential that gives the employer the motivation to say, okay, this guy is good enough to go represent my company in,
Exactly.
I don't know where you've been, but somewhere else, right? I guess the question I was trying to ask before all this happened was, you worked all over the world. You could have started this thing anywhere. Probably somewhere in the West would have been a little bit more advantageous. Why did you pick Cameroon specifically, and why Africa in general? You've hinted a little bit, but I just wanted us to kind
Okay.
of talk
Yeah.
a little bit more about that.
No, no, it's a very good question. You're not the only one. Members of my family, my siblings ask me this question all the time. It looks easier to have done it here, even much
Mhm.
more profitable. I want to start with this word vocation. That's my first answer. Why do I choose Cameroon? It's a calling. There are things that you think about, that you're being called to do. You can't even control it. I think that is where I'll start. The second one is that when that call comes, you have to look at you and say, can I do it? In the beginning, I had this calling things when I came back from India, say 2012, but I was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I will just give this small story. At the highest pinnacle of my career, like I went to California and I was on the most paid contract ever. So all this time I've been around the middle and I'm making this exorbitant amount. And that was the year that I said, no, I have to go. So it's kind of, it's a very, nobody ever asked me this, but yeah, I chose Africa because of impact. Everybody talk about impact driven. I knew that that's the place where my service was needed the most. This is when I was here. I thought this was such an advanced community, and I knew I had the skill before prior to going to Cameroon in 2018. I had done like three different businesses, started financial groups. Yeah, two of them. I'd done three businesses, two financial groups. So I had five ventures that I'd done here. I knew the mindset here was, in my opinion, entitled and saturated. That, don't get me wrong, in Africa it's also entitled and saturated, but the little you do, they go a long way, right? Your impact, if you are truly trying to change lives and serve, $1 in Africa it goes a long way than $1 here. It will mean nothing. So just on the money alone.
Mhm.
It's the same thing with the technology. In a place where everybody is literally at level zero, you move somebody from 0 to 1 is more impactful than somebody that is at levels 8 to 9. It's pretty much that they already know, right? So with that and so many other reasons, but this vocation, this call to serve, and even from a operational model, the things that I wanted to do, the amount of money we've invested in the last 6 years in Africa, that will have not lasted 6 months in the US. This is just the truth. We're talking $1 million plus, right?
Mhm.
If you have like four employees in the US, that's 6 months' salary. But
That's
that's
a
what
lot.
has sustained me for 6 years. And I don't think that the what I wanted to do I could have sustained here where you're building products that is in the future that you make money. You can't have that gap year. That's why people go to VCs. It's such a so there's so many of that reason. So from a financial perspective, from a business model perspective, from a vocational perspective,
Mhm.
and that calling, that yeah, Africa was just a better choice for me. And I had a lot of mentors, man. I think we talk about the value of mentorship, and the books I'd read, The Seat of the
Yeah.
Soul, things that really drove me to know that I have to go home, where my mother and father were teachers, to
Yeah.
try to make the same impact that was given to me.
Right. It's for me. It's always an honor for me when I talk to people who still have seem to have a vision of what back home Cameroon, Africa could look like. Initially, when I got here, I most of the people I had conversations with would never want to go back home. That it was nothing that they would consider. But after a few years, I don't know if it's age or it's wisdom. I
Mhm.
think that people's mentality has changed significantly. Where you see people would want to go invest, put something back home. I don't know if it's a legacy
Yeah,
thing or people, but I like to talk to people who still believe in the potential of Africa, of Cameroon.
me
You
too.
brought something pretty important. You came back with the CAASITECH Group. What is it?
Yeah.
Can you break it down for us?
Yeah, so CAASITECH is a dream. CAASITECH is an idea that says that, if you provide the right environment, if you invest in young people the right way, they can pioneer something that Africa does not have till date. They can become producers of technology, right? The way I always share CAASITECH vision is with this question. If you look at the phone, whether you're in Canada or in the US, in China or Europe, which African app are you using? Which African app are you using, right? We talk about technology has been here since 1979, or it became proliferated by Bill Gates since then. And Africa has always looked like we are leading from behind. We've never mastered any of the technology. Technology has gone through several waves. Africa gets excited each wave. When you were living Cameroon or when you were living Africa, you could remember people were talking about Cisco certifications. We moved from Cisco to web, where you have the eBay and the Facebook high five. Then we will move to cloud, and now we're in AI. Soon we are going to go to quantum. And even when we're in cloud, we have blockchain. Africa has not mastered any of that. We are not above 30% in any of these trends. But every day we look busy. It's like we look busy doing nothing. So Castech is part of the vehicle for me to try to solve that problem. That's really Castech. But how do you do it? That is the definition now of Castech. The way we do it in Castech is an approach that we use the word startup, but I think when I'm done, there'll be a new name outside startup for Castech, because a startup is where people that have competency to build something come together, they are funded, and they build something.
Mhm.
No, in Casitech, it's a school. The entry point is taking somebody that knows nothing about tech. The startup, what is supposed to be a startup, trains that person. So it's not even a startup. So we are like pre-startup, if I can use that word, but I'll come out with the name. Because it's an incubator where we form people, train them to develop skills in technology so that they can create value in technology. They can create connection.
Mhm.
That is not an easy process in Africa where people are poor. They don't have time to waste. They have a microwave mentality. But that's Kasitech. We go through 3 to 5 years to transform these people. And then when they are ready, they become part of the startup, if you understand what I mean. They start building the technology. Right now, we have six. We have 9 programs and we have 6 products. Go to casitech.co. I see you in Casitech Academy. This is nice. So, this place that you're seeing is the entry point. This is how you come through the door. You come through the academy so that you can be trained and you can adopt a different mindset than any you find across Africa. When you've gone through that transformation, now you're ready to build a product, you go to casitech.co. And that is where you start building products, solving local problems in a way that anyone that comes across it can feel a connection, that Ubuntu. I say this with a lot of passion, and I'd like to go a little deeper. Every product, even every program that we have in Casitech Group, is so unique in its own way. There's no copy and paste. That's the one thing we kill from day one when you get into Casitech. And these 6 products, I don't want to use this time to talk about it because we
Right.
talk about tech stack,
Yeah.
but each of these products answers one question. Does it solve an African problem? Yes or no? Can this scale across the world? What is the journey? We call it product roadmap. What is the journey for this product? In 10, 15 years, can somebody in Australia use this? Can somebody in Brazil? If you don't answer those two questions, we don't even bother in CAASITECH. Because that is the vision. The vision is to show that African excellence in technology, to change the narrative where a young African girl, a young African boy can walk into any room in the world in 2029,
Mhm.
2040, and they will be respected, because either we did it in CAASITECH or we inspired people to follow this model to make sure that all of Africa is respected. We're all out here in the West working for different companies doing tech job. I can tell you right now, they see us as the last. India was like that in 1989 when they were trying to get jobs into startups like Bill Gates and the others. Look at where India is today. Can an Indian talk to you and you think that they don't know technology? No, that perception, we can do the same. So CAASITECH is that dream, is that vehicle, is that platform, is that infrastructure that I think I want to be part of, to use to try to transform Africa to become producers of technology.
I was I was going to ask you what makes CAASITECH different from every other, but you've laid it out really clearly.
Thank you.
The vision that you have and the process that
Yeah.
you employ. I think the next important thing I would like to talk a little bit about is CAASITECH Academy,
Yeah.
which is kind of a part of the group, right?
Yes. It's
What
part
does
of the group. Yeah.
yes?
Yeah. So it's a group because if you look at, like, think of us like a young Google, a young Microsoft. No tech company has one product. Microsoft is a group, right?
Right.
Let's use Google, YouTube, Gmail, Google Maps. Those could be standalone companies that's worth 20 billion each. But when they
Mhm.
come together, you call them Google. It's the same concept we have, but from Africa and driven with African value. The academy is what? The academy is just like you have Microsoft Academy. This is a very important question, because when I go to Cameroon, when I come here to visit my family, how's your school? That's how they ask me.
I was tempted to say that until I heard your previous
you
interviews.
know,
I'm like, this is how it's
I'm
true.
telling you, even people that are so close to me, they question, and I always look at it and say, man, to be an entrepreneur is a crazy thing, eh? Because you can't blame these people. It's your job to explain what you do. Nobody is going to care like that. So, yeah, but the misunderstanding in my life is out of the roof. But yeah, CAASITECH Academy is not a school like a school that you go to the university, but it is a training facility. But it is meant to remove people from the streets in Africa into tech gurus, into tech producers. You can just, there's no school in Africa that I've gone that can give me that person. That's why I start with the academy. Let me say this slowly. Let me say this slowly, because I want somebody to come on your platform and put us on this screen and let's talk. Let me show them. And I don't want to use the West as the blog, because we have potential in Africa, but we'll talk about that. I went to a school, Texas A&M. My head of department founded a programming language called C++. I want you to process this. So if I come from such a place, I mean, I've trained in 9 African countries. 9. I've trained people in Ghana, in Angola, in Mauritania, in Senegal. I look at the institutions. I am saying here very proudly that what we are doing in Casta Academy, you can't find it elsewhere. The method is different. It doesn't make us better than any other institution in Africa. I'm just saying it's different. There's a,
Right.
you understand. And remember, also it's self-funded. So the academy is a way of taking somebody, looking at their context, right? A lot of what we do is that we sit in Africa and take online training in Harvard. That is wrong, bro. That is wrong. That is wrong. You don't have stable internet or stable electricity. You don't even have roads in Africa. Let's put that in context.
Mhm.
So that academy comes with all of that. If I went to a VC to take money and they hear what I've done in the academy, they will put their hand in their head and run and say, this man has gone insane. He's wasting money, which might be true. But that is the way I think you do it. And history will tell the story. Because it's already telling me. Every day I see the results. I'm talking to you after 6 years.
Mhm.
So it worked. It could have failed, by the way. A lot of
Mhm.
startups fail. But yeah, so the academy is where you take the young man or the young woman or even an adult with PhD and you transform them to start thinking about producers of technology, start thinking about, I am not there yet. When I leave from level 0 to level 2, there are still 8 more levels to go. Let me not go like everybody in Africa and start inviting CNN to talk to me. You're not there. These people are gaslighting you. You don't know anything. Look around you, right? I don't need to tell you.
It's
Show me
legitimate,
or
right?
something on your phone that came from Africa. So that is the academy. Then the group now. So when you go to the group now, you see those Google products
Right.
like Gmail. So that's our model. It's going to be very difficult to explain this because
Mhm.
even after I've spoken to you like this, I'm still going to be asked, "How's your school? How's your school in
I
here?"
think it's just the mindset. Like
It's okay.
we feel like anywhere we go to learn could be termed a school.
It's a
Um,
school.
but again,
Yeah.
you the way you explained it is it's kind of different. You said you talked about labs and it's
Yeah.
quite
Oh
practical.
wow.
The theory, of course, but you want your students to be there and to be doing what is supposed, because again, is one, the more you do it right, I think the more proficient you become by being
Yeah.
practical about the tools and what it is that you're doing. So that too I think is quite impressive.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit
Oh yeah. I
about
can.
the program itself? I know
Yeah.
we have
So
another program coming up in the US, which I want to transition from here to there, right? So could we
good.
talk a little bit about the
Good.
program, how we get in, the one in Cameroon, so CAASITECH Academy?
Thank you. So in that academy, the academy is built on one foundation. It's a framework, a methodology we call the modern workforce methodology.
Mm.
This is a concept that came from me trying to solve a problem that I saw when I went to Cameroon. I wanted to do cloud. So I saw a need. If you are there, if you are in Africa just talking about the problems, I can't talk with you. Okay? You have to be solution driven. That's how I operate, right? Doesn't, again, it's not making you better, it's just the mindset.
Mhm.
So the solution to the problems that I was complaining about is the modern workforce methodology. That is where the academy was born. So this methodology basically says every person has something in them. If you provide the right environment, if you think through what they have been through, where they have come from, if you can identify how they like to think, first of all, to connect with them, you need to understand what they have been through. So that's their childhood to the day they got to you, right? We are not therapists. It's still workforce. This is within the workforce because
Yeah.
there's a workforce and then there's then there's personal life. We don't go into your personal life. We ask this question in the context of a workforce, and I had experience in it because that's what I was doing in the 15 years that I told you that companies sent me around the world. I was a workforce. I was a digital transformation expert, helping workforce adopt methodologies. So with this methodology, we do that. We identify where you've come from, what your values are, what you value the most in the world, how you like to learn, how you like to think. Are you a good communicator? At what level can we? So when we look at all these things, we build your persona. We understand who you are. Once we understand who you are, that's our first step. We now say, okay, look at all these different things in tech. This is what we want to do. But some of the things we found out about you, maybe you don't belong in tech. Maybe you could go do, agriculture, because in Africa, that's something that we need, right? So once we know who you are in our own ways, frameworks, assessments that we've created, we share you these different. I always like if it's in Cameroon, we start putting people in different career paths. But even with that, we go through years and years of going through this cycle. I've made a lot of mistakes. This with this model workforce methodology that we started in 2019, more than 300 people have gone through it. We've learned a lot. Is that learning that I'm here to talk to you about with the people in the West with this
Right.
tech start? Tech start is using 6 years of groundwork to help people here enjoy this place called America. When our parents were growing up, they had to do just because this is how they want to fit. People are still in America, in a place where there are boundless opportunity, d- taking tech careers just to pay bills, Scrum Master, and all this type of stuff. TechStart is a program like it's a doctor. We can do a diagnosis and say, what are you sick of? And this is your medication. And we promise through this program, right? Our promise in this program is that we give you clarity on which tech careers fit you well, and even test whether you will be able to be sustainable in them. Like we have a way to do sustainability index. What is your resilience? What is your readiness index? We have all of that, right? So if you just go to the TechStart page, you will see that that is the third part. So again, from Cameroon with the modern workforce, in the US with TechStart. What are those two things doing? Helping in the US, in the West, in Canada, Europe, helping people identify who they are so that they can choose careers in tech that are sustainable, that they will be successful in. That is just what we've. So everything that I learned in Cameroon, I'm bringing it here to start. And let me start there. Then later I can talk about how the program will actually go for 3 weeks.
Um, it's surprising. People start here and then they move down.
Yeah.
You started down and you're moving back up.
Let me
Back
just
up.
stop you, my brother. You see that question you asked me about why did I go to Africa?
Yes.
I was just going to say, in retrospect, people
Yeah.
always want to think they are wise. You're not wise. God is the one that guides us, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
If there was any doubt why I was going to Africa, this is the result. Because you always know the right decision later on.
Mm-hmm.
If I had started here, I'll never know this. You see, the African immigrant here is a conflict immigrant. You are talking to parents that came from Africa. You are trying to navigate to the Canadian society, to the US society, to the European society, to the Asian society. But there's something you have to do. There's a job or a school that you have to finish. There are so many things coming at you. The American doesn't have to go through that. This is their place,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if I started here, we will not be talking like this. So that should be your answer. I had to
Okay.
go.
And I'm sure of course, we are definitely happy that you did. And I'm sure that
Yeah.
I've looked at some of the how do you call it, reviews on CAASITECH
Yeah.
Academy and CAASITECH Group, and they're quite impressive. So I
Yeah.
see why you're proud of the products
Very proud. Very
that you're
proud.
producing and the people that you've been able to train and work with for these past years, right? Just a question that a friend of mine asked: what is the future of tech in Cameroon, you think?
Wow, that's a very loaded question. Really? I'm just supposed to answer that
As briefly as possible. I mean, tell me about
as
what it is
briefly as
that
possible.
your experience.
The future of tech in Cameroon is blurred. It's
Mm,
blurred, very blurred. People are in survival mode. Um, I've rarely seen anybody that is doing it with the kind of context that you can see. Like, they say in tech, look at people's life and try to solve a problem.
mhm.
But yeah, why are we even talking about the future in tech in Cameroon? Let me answer this in a different way.
Okay.
There's no future of tech where there's no environment. See, I'm going back to the modern workforce.
Right.
You see, every country in Africa needs three basic things for tech to thrive. So you talk about the future of tech. So I have an answer now.
Right.
If a country cannot provide constant electricity,
Mhm.
good roads, and water, let the tech people just calm down. They should stop talking. People have bigger problems. So, in my approach, those that are in tech should look at the sufferings of Africans: lack of roads, lack of good roads, lack of electricity, lack of water,
Maybe even poor
lack of
internet.
jobs, and they should ask themselves, our government is not doing much. What can I do with technology to alleviate the suffering of our people? If you are talking that way, maybe you are in the path of the future of tech.
Right.
Because you cannot be talking about, if ChatGPT was discovered in any country in Africa, the whole of Africa will lose light. You see, ChatGPT is powered by a nuclear plant. Let me say that slowly. So you're asking me the future. Why did you even do that? You're going to take me to another place.
Open a can of worms. I feel like
Exactly. So you see why, you see how the layers are stacked? The future of tech in Cameroon. Come on, man. Vendée d'illusion.
but so I think where I was driving is this.
Yeah.
Your system is unique, and I again I see there's a future in that. where you
Mhm.
identify, or people come to you that you take 3 weeks to kind of identify their motivations
Yeah.
and their passion for tech, and you put them on the salary. I understand you do,
Oh
you pay
yeah.
people
Yeah.
even to train them, right? And I feel like there's something about that concept
Yeah.
that
Yeah. And
might create
those
a future for
people
us. Yeah.
those people is a dream, right? Because let's go back to the future of tech. If you take a young man, a young woman, by the way, we have more women than men in CAASITECH.
Mhm.
That's another accomplishment. When you come to the academy, in the first 3 weeks, you say, I'm going back to Cameroon, but I'll talk about the identity in the West. We do pay. Let me just say we do pay. We actually pay to train. There are so many ways to explain this. We are coming out with new programs. I think Madame Evette is going to be announcing tech masterclass, something like that, where that is going to be how we identify talent. So in the past, we were growing, so we gave everything for free. And I know you've been in Africa. Just imagine the abuse and the insults that they gave
It's
us,
you. Yeah.
and the people that came and said, "But what is he getting?" All those type of things. So now you are going to have a stake in it. But yes, the 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 concept of CAASITECH, where we are paying people, it was part of that thing that I said that is the way you solve that problem.
Right.
Was part of that issue that I said you cannot see CAASITECH Academy anywhere in Africa. Matter of fact, don't even think about the world, because you need to show me someone that pays people to teach them tech. You see,
Hmm.
tech is a very premium field. In Africa, they are still teaching non-premium stuff, and people are paying. Schools make people tell me education is the most guaranteed way to make money, or minicite, or renting a house.
Debatable.
But you see, I changed that concept. The most lucrative thing, the buffet of the world, the thing that drives the world, we are literally paying people to learn. But not just like that. You have to earn it. You have to earn it. You have to come through a process of assessment, 3 to 3 months, and all those programs you see on Castec Academy. And if you show any promise, then now we welcome you into the den. And I promise you, if somebody asks me, why do most startups have toxic culture? I
Mhm.
said, these words we use, everything you use in the world was probably developed by somebody you could have defined to be toxic. So because I say this to say, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Whoever is listening, if you are not ready to die, don't come. Don't come. I don't know who is listening, how you interpret it, but you're going to do things you've never seen before. Your life is going to be upended. The church people say born again. You're going to be born again because your mindset has to change. You've been into a system of education that is going to make you have a PhD but nothing to do. So we have to transform that. Change cannot come from comfort, bro. You cannot sit in the couch watching TV and I change your life.
Mhm.
If I want to lose weight, people tell me I'm fat, I need to go to the gym.
Mhm.
That's the same thing like Acitec. Our gym is really tough. The weight you pull there, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Mental.
but how do we know you're even worthy of that gym? Is those entry programs, those things you see
Right.
on Castle Academy. Because what actually happens is not on the website. I'm telling you, I'm the founder, it's not on the website. It's not.
Perfect. For those who are watching, if you have any specific questions or you want us to talk about something specific, please just leave a comment and I would kind of read it and put it to our guests to expatiate. So yeah, if you have any questions, any specific areas, please let us know. Somebody wants to know about the program that you the tech stack that you are developing for those of us in the United States, and of course I'm sure people from Canada and wherever could
Yes, because
access
it's
that.
virtual. It's virtual. So anybody that is in an area where internet is stable,
Mhm.
the tech stack is for them. What is tech stack? From June 14, we have the first 3 weeks, and then we have another 3 weeks in July. We are going to take anybody that register, whether you're an adult or you're in high school. There's a program, there's a track for people above 21 and those below 21. For those who are in college, have professional jobs, there's a track. Then there's a track for kids. And what we do there is different. It's well spelled out on our website. But in the first week, we try to understand who you are. If you are in the one that you're in school, we try to know how you learn. We want to know how you learn. We want to know the kind of environment of work that you like, what you think about work. We do all of that to understand your personality, what you value in life. Once we know that, for the adult, we know your persona, what kind of person you've gone through life, you have experience, you're a professional. So you have experience. That experience, we need to evaluate it and give you what a personal trait. That's what happens in both programs in the first week. In the second week, we start telling you, if you're a young person, you see, there are two goals, right? A project manager and a business analyst, for example. If somebody's in college, you cannot be telling them project manager. They're not going to leave college and become a manager. Just think of that level. So the way you orient people have to be realistic. You have to start as an analyst, you go to a supervisor, then you become a manager and senior manager. So we show you how corporate world works. We show you how private starting your own startup in tech works so that you choose which one. We also educate those who are in the lower level how they can learn. You can learn with boot camps, you can learn with online programs that is probably made by people that are not African. We give you the context on how you can still use that and be successful in the West so that you're strong wherever you go. We tell you the most important thing, which is the soft skills, not the hard skills. Learning how to code is useless, right? Because an AI can do that. We give that kind of good orientation in week two for both groups. In week three, bro, that's where we really go in. Week three is really hard. I don't want to make it bad because I want people to sign up and go through this experience. They need it. In week three, we test your commitment, your readiness. So you've been saying all these things in week 1 and 2. Are you sure you can do it? And with that, it's the same thing we do. We do your readiness, we do your commitment index, we do your sustainability index. For the young man, we also do, because what is happening with young people, they follow a lot of trends. They want to be in Bitcoin and all the things they see. But they are telling you in high school as a parent, you're clapping. They go to college and now they are living free life. They no longer have to come back at home and you ask them, where did you come from? You don't know that those things affect learning. You wonder why the brilliant African kid, which you see all across Africa in high school, you don't see that in the workplace. When you go to the workplace, it's the Jewish, the white kids that are performing because they have that sustainability. That is our week 3. We focus on that and actually tell you. And all of these 3 weeks, boys, just a diagnosis. We have another program that for 3 months will monitor you, coaching, not just us, people that are, whatever you choose. Let's say you chose that you wanted to start your own business. Now you'll be talking to people like me that have started business and other tech founders. If you wanted to go to a university, you talk to professors that teach computer science, Dr. Rabi, these all those guys that are, so we have that other program, we call it Career Success Hub. But yes, this summer, the textile program is called Career Discovery Bootcamp. It's not a training, it's a discovery exercise. It's 3 weeks of systematic proprietary way based from people that think like you, know your background, and can connect with you in a way that someone in your school, all these high schools, they have advisors. They cannot connect. They cannot connect. Mosquito know about them. Huh? So let's be real. So we have that program, and there's so many benefits why people should want to be part of this tech start. Because even if you have so many doubts, I can tell you, I want to tell you a story, but we don't have the time. Let me just give it this way. You're about to go pay 20,000 a year for college. Shouldn't you know whether this will pan out?
Yeah.
I mean, how many young people you knew that said they were going to do AI after they said, no, I've switched my major. I've switched my major. That's okay, but that's because the programs like this did not exist. This thing is here now. For less than $100, you can save that 20,000. You're already in a career. You know you are getting paid. I know you're paying your rent. You're paying your mortgage. But don't you, with this buffet of tech, don't you want to come in and see what other things you can do? Just give us these 3 weeks, right? It's so seamless. It's 2 hours a day, Tuesday to Thursday. So if you have your thing in the weekend, we are not going to touch it. Plus, it's online. Whether you're in Canada, the way we've made it, the latest person will get up at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. if they are like you're in mountain time. We're talking about way back in Alaska, right? So the way we structure the program is non-intuitive. It's not going to disrupt your summer. And every module is recorded. So if you pay for it, you can log in into our portal anytime and watch what was discussed. So it's just something that we are doing. It's impact driven also, because if we are really going to say the CAASITECH vision is to produce technology, these are the kind of programs we need to scale across any African immigrant in the world. Because with all of this effort in 10, 15 years, one of these people, whether it's also somebody else that is doing it in Nigeria or Ghana, will make all of us Africans be respected. You know what Etofis did to us with soccer. You go anywhere as a Cameroonian, I say, do you know Eto? Those are the type of things we are looking for in tech. Africa does not have respect in the tech space. That's because people are doing it with the wrong motivation. People are doing things that they don't have clarity on. Techstart is our effort to reduce all of that by almost 80%. And we are very passionate, as you can see, to do it.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think we'll be successful.
We can definitely hear the passion in your voice as you speak about it. Like a proud father's
Yeah.
talking about this the child, right? A
Yeah,
successful
they say,
child.
oh man, to say, picking fine.
Yes. I think that's what I hear. But
Yeah.
I kind of also wanted to add that the advantage here is that you're not expected to stop whatever it is that you're doing
No, no.
to
The
be part
summer goes in
of
smooth.
Techstart, right? It's summer. You could, again, it's 2 hours a week. No, sorry, 2 hours a day for
Hey,
3 days a week, which
yep.
means you could go to work, come back in the evening,
And
get
you're
jump
fine.
into class and get things done, right? So it's not, you don't have to put your life,
On hold. We don't want to touch your
get this
summer
done.
enjoyment
Right,
at all.
right.
Yes.
So
But we want to give you for the 10 or 15 20 minutes, 1 hour that you give us, what we'll give you back. I promise you, bro. I know what I will do. I'll come back to this show and give you testimony for those who will come in this summer. I'll make sure that I don't speak. Let them tell you what happened.
mhm.
And you will hear it. You will hear it.
Thank you very much. That
Yeah.
I'll just kind of go through the comments and see if there are any comments that are particular to this to the tech start. You can ask tech related questions. Okay.
Yeah, let them ask. Let them ask. Somebody just asked me a question. What's the future of tech in Africa? That was good. Yeah, let them. We have. I think you said 1 hour, so we have
Yeah.
like 5 minutes left.
Yeah. We have a few more minutes left.
Yeah.
Um, Another question again from one of my WhatsApp group. They say again, this is a kind of it's a serious question. I don't know if it's loaded, but it's a serious question.
Hmm.
Um, what what is the tech job of the future? If you were talking to kids who were interested in tech,
Yeah. If
um,
somebody is here in the US, the answer is undefined. There's no tech job of the future in the US. In Africa, I would say learn networking. The tech job of the future is network. Understand how the internet works.
mhm,
Very important. That is an unexplored continent. All these trends are going to recycle. Right? We've seen it before from the Ottoman Empire. I am a tech person, but yeah. But in Africa, I can give you specific. But just like we're talking about tech stack, that question has no bearing to me.
mhm,
The tech job of the future depends on your personality.
right,
If you don't know who you are, how is somebody answering that question for you? So tell whoever asked that question that I'm begging them, I'll pay for their cost to
they're
come to
listening.
TechStart, because anybody that tells you what the tech job in the future is part of the problem. Because we are going to be pursuing, you're going
And
to try to fit into a
they're
career
conditioning you
instead
to
of letting a career fit into you.
exactly
So
right.
that question has no bearing. That's why I said in this place it's undefined. It's
Mhm.
undefined. But in Africa, whatever career you choose, one of the things I would tell all the young people in Africa, start by understanding how a computer works. Because whatever you want to become, you need that foundation. You
Right.
cannot become anything if you don't know what 1 plus 1 is. That's how I answer that. But the true career depends on you, how you
Mhm.
are, how you think, what you like, your analytical brain, the environments that you like to work in, all that put together, and so many other factors. Whatever traumas you had in your life, when your mother died, your father, all those things contribute in what career. And nobody should ever tell you this is the tech job of the future. It's a scam.
Perfect. Question. So we have about 5 minutes left. So each question, if you could be as brief as possible. So I have a few rapid questions that I want to kind of put to you.
Please try. I don't know. I don't know how to be brief yet. I'm working on that.
We'll try. They say, with your experience in tech and your exposure and working all around the world, if you were given a chance to advise any African government or all our African governments about education, what would that advice be?
It will depend on the kind of country. People are
Cameroon,
not on the same
where,
stage,
that's
so
where
I don't know the advice. But I will go back
that's
to the
where,
one thing I said earlier.
right.
If you don't have people cannot, you don't talk about tech if the people in your country cannot charge their laptops, right? If you don't have power, you cannot give your citizen constant power, good roads, and water. Let's not be, don't, I don't know where to start. Let's work on the technology that will help you give those things to
Give
them.
those things first.
Because if the people that you want to bring revenue to transform your country, they are not in the right environment,
Right.
you are scamming people talking about tech. And this is what you see in Africa. Every day there's a conference somewhere in AI. Can any African build AI? Where's the power?
There's no power.
You want people to go without electricity for 30 years?
People are already going
It's a
without
scam.
electricity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah.
um Another question. What was it like starting a tech enterprise in Cameroon? And I want us to look at just interacting with the government in order to
Mm.
not that I mean we've talked about the other things that are missing, but in terms of the relationship between business and governments, how easy or how hard was it for you to start up?
That's a good question. It's not even the government. Anywhere you want to start business, there are challenges. Even in the US, Canada. So Africa just poses a different type of challenge, but it's what we call in design thinking a wicked problem. And yeah, so how was it? Africa is festered for an entrepreneur with wicked problems. These are problems that there's no data. You can't even conceive the solution, right? Because most people that accuse government, if they make them ministers, they'll do the same
It's
thing.
probably something.
The care diabolique. The mothers are, somebody asked me what's the biggest challenge. I said the mothers of my CAASITECH people have been the biggest obstacle, not the government. See, my perspective is different. So I think everywhere if you want to start business in Australia, Germany, you're going to have issues. So Africa poses the same amount of issue to start the business. Don't go into business thinking there's a place that is better. It's not. It's just that the problems in Africa are wicked problems, and people should look that up, because when I say wicked, the African mind will go to something bad. It's not bad. A wicked problem is a problem that we don't have the data to understand it, to solve it. It's a design thinking problem. Africa is littered. Every country, maybe South Africa may have gone up and wonder they are building the right infrastructure. It's littered with wicked problems. Things that you cannot compose. Man, you're going to go crazy. So don't focus on that. Focus on your tax.
Perfect. We might have talked about this inspiration and motivation. What motivates you? What inspires you?
My family motivates me a lot. My nephews now, it used to be just my sisters, now my wife, but every time I think about my sister's children, my extended family, the people that come out from nowhere to help me every time in Africa, these angels, I call them angels, my community, and my people. God, I forgot the CAASITECH people.
Right.
For people to see a crazy man come like this and follow, those kids, their future, they live with me. I dream about them, of how to make sure that they are successful in life. So that motivates me a lot. That keeps me. I'm super motivated, man. I have a lot of love from all these people. I've sacrificed a lot to do this, but I think they make it in their own ways without even talking to me. What it? So, what's the motivation and what was the other one?
Inspiration, same thing.
Same thing. I'm inspired by the young girl that I'm going to Kadat in Douala, and she has her cardboard going to class one. You're in a car. I had bought this car. I remember I was going to see a reverend sister. I have a picture of that. I'll send it to you. Those type of things, man. Every day you get in Cameroon, you have to be inspired, because people are not well. They are not doing okay. The majority of them have given up, so they are doing things that they are not supposed to do, and that's sad to say. But you can be so inspired in Cameroon by if beside anywhere where people are struggling and you have a little bit of resource and your mindset is service. You don't need inspiration now, but you're already inspired.
You are. Success stories. I was just kind of looking at that. You talk
Yeah.
about the people you've worked with
Yeah,
people
my
you
greatest success in that in this thing, it's not the products or the program, it's the people,
is the
their
people.
stories. Each of them have a story. I wish they can tell their stories. CAASITECH is littered with people that we have helped transform their lives. And if somebody ever says you did something, then you don't know how God works, right? I always say this: when somebody says you're a genius, I said, if you're a genius, you know you're not a genius because it's not you. You're just a vessel, right? That's why it's a vocation, because it's a higher power calling you. So you
Right.
just put yourself in the garden and you take out the weave and flowers blossom. You did not make those flowers blossom, man. God did. You just take out the weeds. You just created the environment to be right for those flowers to come up. So yeah, that's my greatest achievement, is what has happened to these people that started this journey, and we have not even started. I'm so excited about the future. I've never been excited today than I was in 2019.
Perfect. One more thing. There's one more thing I wanted to.
Yeah.
Um,
People don't have more questions. I mean, if they don't, we gotta. Yeah, I'm happy either way that we're on this platform.
right.
I really want to thank you.
And
Um,
sometimes those questions, sometimes the questions come later.
mhm. I can
It's
come back and respond to text.
it's a
Let's
lot of
yeah
information. I'm sure we could definitely continue to have this conversation online
yeah
in the message
yeah.
and the comment section.
Then let's
Uh,
talk. Let's talk before the program starts. I mean, by then a lot of things will have happened. We have like a month and a half.
yeah. So definitely, I would reach out with an invitation before
Thank you.
we start the program, so we could talk a little bit about it. I know people really wanted to know specifically the tech stack in the
Yeah.
US, which I'm
Mm.
sure we've given it enough time.
Mhm.
But again, we're definitely going to bring you back to talk a little bit more about it before the
Yeah,
program.
I think our next conversation will just be 30 minutes, if you don't
All right.
mind, of
Yes.
Techstart, because I'll be close to it. Right now, we are, it's good to also understand the background. So I like the way we've done it today. Thank you so much.
It's perfect. Final words before we conclude.
Yeah,
Oh,
just Well, for me, it's again, it's gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. I'm glad that I could tell my story. I'm glad to all the people in my life, my team in Cameroon, that they are probably up watching this. It's almost 3 a.m. I want to give a shout out to them. And to give a shout out to my wife, my kids, my mom, my sisters, my brother, my cousins, my nephews. They are not watching, by the way. But yeah, those people that you talked about, the motivation. But I also want to talk to everybody that's listening to this. No one person has a solution to anything. I'm just one of the voice for tech. I've taken a very radical approach. Please don't copy this. Nobody should do this. I know what it has done to me. Don't try it at home. But try to get the message. The message is simply, someone in your community, you know so many stories than me. You're probably in a job that that you're doing it for, maybe social pressure. Somebody told you to do nursing, or somebody told you to do Scrum Master or AWS Cloud. Please give us a try. Give us a try. This is a non-invasive thing. Bring people to come and try us. They will look at you and say you changed their lives. I don't say this because I'm doing it. I say this because I know I'm a vessel for something bigger than me. And I've seen the results. And I want to passionately plead to anyone listening to this to try this program. Go on our website right now and do a free test. We have a free test. So you can get a glimpse of what can come. You can answer just less than 15 questions, and we'll tell you a little bit about yourself. And you'll see that those questions you will not find anywhere in the world. They are not copy and paste. They are really from an African perspective. And so just give it a try if you're interested in tech. And those who don't think they're interested in tech, do also. I am an evangelist for tech. I want more people to be in tech. I think that Africa desperately need people that are passionate about it. And I'd like to work with those that want to do tech for the right reasons, not for motivations that are unsustainable, that are microwave in their nature. And that's my passion. I'll be coming on this platform again. My brother has invited me to talk more about this. But that's my closing word, is just share this message any way you can. Ask questions. If you put it on the comment, I'll come and respond. I'll go to Facebook and respond. And I'm just glad that you're here to listen. Or if you're listening right now, thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hilaire Aben.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, Hilaire is always it's
Yeah,
always Hilaire. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. You are a very busy man.
thank you.
That is for sure, and we do appreciate you coming here and taking the time to really break tech down for us. There's, like I said earlier, a lot of us would not know a lot about this, so this is information that I think is valuable, especially for my people here. And the reason why I was motivated to get you is because we talk a lot about tech
Okay.
here in Calgary, but again, it's limited. We talk a lot about it, but it's limited.
Okay.
Linux, cloud,
Oh,
and
Linux is
and
powerful, man.
and one other thing, Scrum Master. But
Mm-hmm.
again, it's a whole world out there, right? And I
Yeah.
think it's good to know that
As,
it's
as
not
long
all.
as as long as you're not talking about it with a certification, bring me
No,
in.
no,
I don't like
just
to talk about a Linux
of course,
certification. That is the scam in Africa. We
yeah,
chase certifications. I'm good. I will just run away from the platform if it's about
yeah,
this. That word
yeah.
certification has really killed us. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
There's a comment here which I thought I'd read. It's not a serious comment. It's just something about service that. Where is that comment? That would be my closing.
Good.
Okay, so Bill says every time he speaks, I see the desire to serve. So what I'm trying to say is, if you learn nothing from the show today, I'm
Yeah.
talking to the audience. If you learn nothing, but you left here thinking about how you could support and serve the communities that you work with or the community that you're in,
Yeah.
then you've taken the big thing out of here. Because again,
Thank you.
the passion I see, Eben talks about wanting to serve and giving back to the community, and that is a significant piece of his motivation. I'm sure if we all have a little bit of that desire to serve, we can definitely move things forward and create the change that we want to see, right? So
Yeah.
again, thank you very much. I want to thank the audience for being here. And again, this was a wonderful conversation. I've learned a lot. I'm sure those who are watching have too. I wish you all a wonderful night. I mean, if you're
Yeah,
getting ready
exactly.
to go to bed, thank you very much, and we will keep in touch.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah,
Next one.
yeah, bye.